Rimuru x Arifureta. Fragments of Soul to be the Strongest by Rimu_Kai. Chapter 2 The World. A blinding light consumed everything, forcing the students to shut their eyes. Even Rimuru, who had experienced millions of strange phenomena in his past existence, found himself momentarily disoriented. What the hell? He thought. I was under the impression this world didn't have magic. As if responding to his confusion, a familiar voice resonates in his mind. Foolish master, did you already forget? The world you reincarnated into had no magic. The one you are in now, however, is a different case. Magic exists here, which means my old skills and powers are returning, Rimuru asserted under his breath, feeling a surge of familiarization flood his body. Congratulations. You're no longer a powerless little human. Try not to die too quickly this time. Rimuru sobbed. And what happens now? Oh, don't ask me. That's your problem, not mine. You're too cruel, Rimuru responded, rolling his eyes internally. Why, thank you. I accept that as a compliment. Yeah, whatever. As the light slowly faded, Rimuru opened his eyes and scanned his surroundings. His younger brother, Hajime, looked utterly bewildered, his eyes darting around in confusion. Well, that's normal. It's his first time experiencing something like this. Rimuru turned his gaze toward the other students. Kaori and Kuki were visibly shaken, their eyes filled with uncertainty, while Shizuku, though clearly just as confused, remained calm, her sharp samurai instincts keeping her composed. Then, as the last remnants of light disappeared, the students found themselves in an entirely new location. A massive hall stretched before them, grand and adorned with marble pillars and golden chandeliers. At the center, 30 figures knelt in a perfect formation, all wearing blue mage cloaks. Rimuru narrowed his eyes. Mages, huh? Hajime, he said, causing his younger brother to jump slightly. Look at them. They're probably spellcasters. Hajime blinked and then hesitantly asked, You mean, like in a game? Rimuru smirked. Kinda, yeah. Just then, one of the cloaked figures stepped forward. Unlike the others, his robe was decorated with intricate gold embroidery, and his presence carried an air of authority. Lowering his head, he spoke in a solemn voice. Welcome to Tortus, Hiro-sama and your esteemed companions. The students murmured among themselves in confusion. I am Ishtar, Pope of the Church of Saints. It is an honor to receive you all. Let us get along from now on. Rimuru scoffed inwardly. Ah, here we go. Standard isekai nonsense. Without missing a beat, Ishtar turned and gestured for them to follow. Please, come with me. We have much to discuss. As they walked through a grand corridor, Rimuru analyzed the situation. These mages don't seem like the same kind of people who used to forcibly summon others in my old world. More like they lack the knowledge to do so, they're amateurs at best. Rimuru nodded. That makes sense. Eventually, they arrived at a luxurious chamber with a long table surrounded by elegant chairs. The students took their seats. Aiko, their teacher, and most of Kuki's group sat close to Ishtar, eager to listen. Meanwhile, Rimuru chose to sit as far away as possible, practically at the other end of the table. Hajime immediately took a seat next to him, instinctively trusting his brother over the others. Hey! Looks like Hajime realizes something's off. Kaori hesitated for a moment before sitting beside Hajime. I have a weird feeling about this. Mind if I sit with you? Hajime looked uncertain but nodded. Rimuru sighed. Hajime doesn't really want her kindness, but she's oddly drawn to him. My little bro, hurry up and grow up, man. Then, another voice interrupted his thoughts. Can I sit next to you? Rimuru turned to see Shizuku standing there, her expression neutral. He smirked. Yeah, sure. She nodded and sat down beside him. Suddenly, the doors swung open, and 5 maids entered, gracefully bowing before they began serving food and drinks. The room was filled with the scent of gourmet dishes, and Rimuru couldn't help but admire the maids. They were among the most beautiful women he had ever seen. Across the table, Hajime had a similar thought. Damn, those maids are hot as hell. As one particularly attractive maid placed a plate before him, she gave him a polite smile before moving on. Hajime instinctively glanced at her retreating figure. Then, he felt it. A chilling aura. Slowly, he turned his head and saw Kaori glaring at him with an intensity that could rival a demon lord's wrath. What the hell? Why is she looking at me like I just committed a crime? Hajime panicked, immediately looking away. Rimuru, observing the scene, chuckled. Poor guy. Kaori won't let him enjoy the view. Then, as a maid approached Rimuru, he suddenly grabbed her hand, pulling her slightly closer. The entire room froze. Hajime's eyes widened. Wa. Kaori gasped. Are Rimuru? Kuki's jaw dropped. Are you serious? Shizuku's expression darkened. You idiot, even Aiko, their teacher, was too shocked to speak for a moment. Meanwhile, Rimuru smirked at the flustered maid, who was now blushing furiously. In his mind, he casually asked Azura, hey, find out what the most expensive thing in this world is. Processing, a glowing interface appeared in his mind. Most expensive material. Blue diamond, create one. Done. A gemstone materialized in Rimuru's palm. A flawless blue diamond, streaked with crimson, shining with an otherworldly luster. Without hesitation, he handed it to the maid. This is for you. The maid's eyes widened in disbelief, her face turning a deep shade of red. She shakily accepted the gem. Thank you, sir. She quickly retreated, still overwhelmed. The entire table was silent. Then, you absolute moron. Shizuku punched Rimuru lightly on the head. Ow, Rimuru said flatly, unfazed. You idiot, she muttered, visibly annoyed. Kaori was still speechless, while Kuki finally snapped, don't do weird things in front of everyone. Rimuru smirked. Oh, does that mean I can do them in private? That's not the issue. Aiko finally found her voice and scolded Rimuru. You shouldn't be acting so inappropriately in a situation like this. Rimuru leaned back lazily. Yeah, whatever. Meanwhile, Ishtar, who had been watching the entire thing, chuckled. That boy is an interesting one. Aiko quickly bowed. I apologize for his behavior. Ishtar merely smiled. No need. We have far more important matters to discuss. And with that, the real conversation began. The moment Ishtar stood, the murmurs in the room died down. He cleared his throat, looking over the gathered students with a solemn expression. I know that you are all confused, he began, but allow me to explain everything. He extended his arms, as if inviting them into his words. In this world, there exist three primary races: humans, demons, and demi-humans. These three factions have long been in conflict, though they rarely engage in direct warfare due to the delicate balance of power. Humans have the greatest numbers, but demons are naturally stronger, while demi-humans remain untouchable in their own lands due to their innate abilities. Rimuru, sitting at the far end of the table, tapped his fingers idly, listening without much interest. You already figured this much out, didn't you? Yeah, but I want to hear how this guy spins it. Ishtar continued, his voice heavy with conviction. The demons and humans are forever at odds. And while they have not launched an all-out assault yet, we know that the demons are preparing for war. The advantage lies with them due to the existence of magical beasts. Creatures infused with mana, varying in power, but all dangerous. With these beasts on their side, the demons have the upper hand. It is only a matter of time before they strike. He took a deep breath. That is why we have called upon you, heroes from another world. You have crossed through the great barrier that separates worlds, and in doing so, you have been granted strength beyond that of the people of this realm. You are the key to humanity's survival. Silence filled the chamber as the weight of his words settled over the students. Some of them looked uncertain, others excited. Then, Rimuru raised his hand lazily. Quick question. Ishtar nodded. Yes, you keep saying, heroes, and all that. Who exactly decided that? Who summoned us? Ishtar smiled reverently. That would be Ihid-sama, the divine being who watches over this world and guides humanity toward salvation. Rimuru's smirk twitched slightly. He exchanged a glance with Hajime before speaking again. And this, Ihid-sama, you're saying it's the will of God? Indeed. Rimuru rested his chin on his hand. So, you're telling me this, Ihid, is the god of this world? Yes, it was through his divine power that you were all brought here. My stupid master, this is suspicious, I know. If we're talking about the will of God, then the only true one should be Veldanava. Ishtar blinked. Pardon? Rimuru leaned back. I asked if your so-called god is Veldanava. You know, the creator? A confused murmur spread among the priests. Ishtar, however, simply smiled. My apologies, but I do not know of any being by that name. If such a person exists, they must surely be a false god. Ihit-sama is the one true divine existence. Rimuru sighed. Yeah, figures. The students were bewildered by the exchange, but before they could ask anything, Aiko suddenly stood up. Excuse me, but I cannot accept this. Ishtar turned to her, his expression polite but expectant. You brought my students into this war without their consent. I refuse to let them be forced into a fight that isn't theirs. You must send us back immediately. A few students, emboldened by their teacher's words, began to speak up. Yeah, this is basically kidnapping. Why should we fight in a war we know nothing about? This isn't fair. Rimuru smirked. At least some of them had enough brainpower to question the situation. Ishtar, however, remained unfazed. I understand your concerns, Aiko-sama. But I must inform you that returning is impossible. You see, it was Ihit-sama himself who summoned you. Only she possesses the power to send you back. His words sent a wave of unease through the students. Then, Kuki slammed his hand on the table. Everyone, listen. The room quieted as he stood, radiating determination. There's nothing to fear. Ishtar hasn't done anything wrong. If the humans of this world are in danger, then it's our duty to help them. We were summoned by a god. Surely if we fight and save this world, he'll send us back home. Kyutaru immediately stood beside him. That's right, you always say going alone is dangerous, Kuki. I'll fight with you. Shizuku sighed but eventually nodded. We don't have much of a choice. I don't like this, but if fighting is the only way to survive, then I'll fight. Kaori, visibly nervous, hesitated before clenching her fists. I'll go too. Shizuku-chan, count me in. One by one, the more popular students agreed. It wasn't long before nearly everyone was nodding along. Ishtar smiled approvingly. I am deeply thankful to all of you. But then, ha 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 ha, a cold, mocking laugh echoed through the chamber. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Rimuru, who was grinning as he leaned back lazily in his chair. Kuki frowned. What's so funny? Daisuke scowled. You think this is a joke, bastard? Kyutaru crossed his arms. If you don't want to fight, just say so. Don't laugh at the people who are willing to help. Hajime sighed. Rimuru, why are you laughing? Rimuru's grin widened. Oh, it's just, I think I just heard the funniest joke of my life. Kuki clenched his fists. What's that supposed to mean? Rimuru's expression turned cold. You idiots actually think fighting in a war is some heroic fairy tale, don't you? His words cut through the room like a blade. Kuki snapped. I'm going to make this world peaceful. Rimuru rolled his eyes. Yeah, sure. With words, right. Good luck with that. Sighing, he turned to Ishtar. I have another question. Ishtar, still composed, nodded. What is it? Are you absolutely sure this, Ihit, is a god? Ishtar frowned slightly but answered, there is no doubt. Rimuru exhaled. All right then. Fine. I'll fight. Gasps rang out. Kaori looked at him in shock. Rimuru. Shizuku narrowed her eyes. What's your angle? Rimuru smirked. Let's just say I have my own reasons. But let me make one thing clear. His voice turned sharp, filled with underlying menace. If I see something suspicious, if I find out that we've been lied to. The air in the room grew heavy. I will erase this entire kingdom. A stunned silence followed. Daisuke scoffed. As if you could. Hajime suddenly stood. If my brother's fighting, I'm in too. Aiko looked distressed. Is there any way I can stop you? Kuki shook his head. I'm sorry, sensei. But at this point, no. Rimuru stood, stretching lazily. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll find a way to get us out of this mess. And with that, the die was cast. The grand hall of the royal palace was an architectural marvel, lined with opulent golden chandeliers, crimson carpets, and towering stained glass windows depicting legendary battles. Yet, despite the breathtaking sight, the students felt like strangers in a place they didn't belong. Knights, chambermaids, and high-ranking nobles lined the hallways, each gazing at them with an almost unsettling reverence. Murmurs passed between the servants, whispers of awe and deference. They are the apostles of God. Chosen warriors summoned to protect us. The students exchanged uncomfortable glances, the weight of expectations pressing down on them like a thick fog. Even the more enthusiastic ones, like Kuki, felt the unnatural reverence was a bit much. Rimuru, however, strolled leisurely at the back of the group, his lips curling into a smirk as he whispered under his breath. How amusing. They look at us like we're divine messengers. If only they knew what I am. An arrogant fool. Oh, shut up, Azra. The massive throne room doors creaked open, revealing an elevated golden throne where a middle-aged man sat regally. His attire was adorned with royal embroidery, and his golden crown gleamed under the torchlight. Beside him sat a woman of equal elegance, her mature beauty evident even through her stern expression. King Eric and Queen Luluaria. The king raised his hand, and silence fell over the hall. Welcome, heroes from another world, he greeted, his voice deep and commanding. I am King Eric of the Highlight Kingdom, and this is my queen, Luluaria. We have awaited your arrival with great anticipation. The students bowed awkwardly, unsure of the proper etiquette. Behind the throne stood two figures. One was a young boy with messy blonde hair and a proud smirk, Prince Randall, barely 10 years old. The other was a breathtaking young woman with a gentle smile and strikingly similar golden locks, Princess Liliana, aged 15. Liliana stepped forward, offering a graceful curtsy. It is an honor to meet our world's saviors. We are grateful for your presence. She had an air of elegance, her voice laced with kindness. Many of the male students, including Kuki, visibly straightened up, eager to make a good impression. Randall, however, had eyes only for one person. Kaori. Lady Kaori, you are truly an angel sent by the heavens. The young prince stepped toward her, his blue eyes twinkling with admiration. To meet someone of such beauty and grace, I must admit, my heart is already captivated. Kaori blinked in surprise. Thank you, Prince Randall. That's very kind of you. The prince beamed, clearly thinking he had a chance. The other students, however, felt like they were watching a tragic comedy. This kid's 10. Does he really think he has a shot? Hajime thought, resisting the urge to laugh. But the funniest reaction came from Kuki, who clenched his fist slightly. Even here, Kaori gets attention. Rimuru stifled a chuckle at Kuki's jealousy. What a ridiculous creature. Humans are endlessly entertaining, aren't they? Daisuke sneered under his breath. Even a kid has more charm than that loser Hajime. Hajime pretended not to hear. He was already used to Daisuke's constant insults. Shizuku, standing beside Rimuru, whispered, this prince is bold. Rimuru smirked. Jealous. She blushed slightly. Oh, of course not. His smirk widened. How cute. Her blush deepened, but she quickly looked away, regaining her composure. After a few more pleasantries, the king turned serious. We understand that this world is new to you, and we shall provide you with every comfort necessary. He gestured to a nearby priest. We have arranged a grand feast in your honor. Please, enjoy yourselves. The students were soon escorted to a luxurious dining hall. The dining hall was nothing short of extravagant. Long tables were adorned with silk tablecloths, golden goblets, and an assortment of delicious food, some familiar, others completely alien. Despite their initial reluctance, the students couldn't deny the aroma was mouthwatering. Meats cooked to perfection, fresh fruits and vegetables, and even sweets that looked like they came from a fantasy novel. Wow, this looks amazing, Kuki exclaimed as he sat down eagerly. Kaori nodded. I didn't expect the food here to be so similar to our worlds. Rimuru, meanwhile, was more focused on the people than the food. The king treats Ishtar with an unusual amount of respect. Yeah, it's clear who holds the real power here. Hajime also noticed it. The church controls everything, huh? He argued. Rimuru smirked. Seems that way. That means these royals are nothing more than puppets. As the students ate, Princess Liliana took the chance to converse with them. She was surprisingly intelligent, engaging in discussions about their world and how it compared to hers. She particularly enjoyed speaking with Shizuku, as they both had interests in swordplay. Meanwhile, Randall continued his hopeless pursuit of Kaori, showering her with compliments. At one point, Rimuru leaned toward Shizuku. Should I save Kaori from that kid? Shizuku gasped. She seems to be handling it fine. But go ahead. I'd love to see you work your magic. He grinned. Challenge accepted. Rimuru casually walked over to Kaori and Randall's table. Lady Kaori, he said smoothly, sliding into the seat beside her, I apologize for interrupting, but might I steal you away for a moment? Kaori blinked. Sure. Randall glared. Hey, I was talking to her. Rimuru smirked down at the young prince. Oh, my apologies, Your Highness. I didn't mean to interfere with your charming attempts at courtship. The way he emphasized charming made it clear he was amused. Randall huffed. HMPH. You may be a hero, but I am a prince. Rimuru chuckled. And I am a god's chosen warrior. Shall we compare titles? The prince went silent, realizing he wouldn't win this fight. Shizuku, watching from afar, sighed. He's such a troublemaker. Master looks like you enjoy it. Shut up, Azra. After the feast, the students were led to their assigned rooms. Each chamber was absurdly luxurious, massive beds, elegant decorations, and a level of comfort none of them had expected. Isn't this a bit too much? Hajime muttered. Shizuku nodded. It feels like we're being treated as royalty. Kaori sat on her bed, still flustered from Rimuru's earlier stunt. This whole day has been exhausting. Meanwhile, Rimuru lay on his bed with his hands behind his head. This world's hospitality is impressive. Maybe I should enjoy it more. You should be more concerned about what comes next. Oh, I am. But a little arrogance never hurt anyone. Your overconfidence will be your downfall. Then I'll make sure to enjoy the fall. With that, the night passed, and the students drifted into sleep, unaware of the trials awaiting them in this world. To be continued.